Hey, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Anvil with yours truly. Today we're joined with Shelley and Jay, the Blade Slayer.
Okay. The
Hey, how's it
blades
going?
there.
Oh, trust me, I went through that intro like 4 or 5 times since we finally nailed down a time to how to come through it. So I actually got
Yeah.
it out without getting tongue-tied. So, hey, we're just going to jump right into it. Jay, if you want to start off, and then Shelley, and then back and forth, and then we'll just dive into it.
Well, I've been making knives for probably 400 years now, I think. At least it feels like it. Now started in my early 30s. Hobby is snowballed out of control. Finally found something after all this time I was actually good at instead of driving forklifts and mixing drinks and stuff, and ran with it. And I was fortunate enough to pay a house and raise two kids and make that my sole income for over 25 years now. And now I'm basically just making knives, enjoying it, not doing as many orders, and we're doing a lot more traveling and teaching and demonstrating as well too. So we're enjoying that as well.
Nice. I started, well, I grew up around it. My dad's been doing it since, let's see, I'm 40, 41 years now. So I grew up around it. So it's kind of thing. I picked it up when I was about 10. So altogether, 30 years of doing it. So since I started doing it myself, within the last 12 years, I've really gotten serious since I got my own shops, which happens to be my dad's original shops when he first started out. So how cool is
Nice.
that?
Nice.
Shelley, what about you?
Hello, my name's Shelley. I've been making knives probably 3 years now. Never ever imagined that I would be doing something like that. I've always been creative, like to do all kinds of arts and crafts and all that kind of stuff. Then one day I sat next to this guy on a plane. It's actually kind of fairy tale like how we met. And he we started dating, and one of the dates I did go to his house. He showed me around the shop, and I was like, that looks like so much fun. I want to try it. And
Oh
here we
gosh,
are.
I see that bit.
I'm an apprentice. I have made quite a few knives. I've slacked off a little bit. I had to finish up my school and focusing a little bit on my career right now because I am a nurse. Been a nurse for 20 years, so that's my bread and butter. And the knife making is a hobby. And just through our relationship, I've kind of morphed into the person I like to affectionately call myself his handler.
Somebody got to do it.
If that could
Somebody's got to
even be
keep track on
done.
him. Yep, yep. I've noticed when we've down in Texas there at Texas Select.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you see it when we're at the events and stuff. Yeah, she's got me basically by the short hairs in the back of the neck, making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be
Sometimes
doing.
I need that myself too. So I don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm single, living the bachelor life. Recently, my daughter just moved in with me. Got through the motions of the court on that.
Hmm.
That's a mess up deal. That's for a topic off air kind of thing. So
That's
Yeah.
a different podcast. I can join you on that one too.
hey,
Right.
Dave, yeah,
That's the life podcast, the real the hardcore stuff.
you kind of share. We were in Texas. We kind of talked a little bit about that, and so yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
understand exactly what you're talking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I got my big glass of
Um
water here because I got to I try to drink two of these every damn morning, trying to be a little bit more, healthy. So,
Healthy. There
Oh
you go.
yeah.
um,
Jay did fail to mention quite a very important part of his career that he just kind of like glossed over. He got a phone call one day. He thought it was a joke, asking him to be on a TV show.
Oh
You
yeah.
forgot that part.
Well, everybody knows about that part.
Well, not
well,
everybody. They could be watching this podcast, may not even know what a knife maker is.
Heck,
So,
heck, my
we
shop in
are
Pennsylvania
not.
was even on the show.
I'm glad she brought that up because I don't know if it was on one of my lives on YouTube or I read it on Facebook. I think it was on a live on YouTube. Some people were in India were watching me forge out in the shop, and they
Mm.
made a comment that Forge and Fire just opened up in India. So, and we actually
yeah,
got a few down. I've actually had a few downloads in India. So,
there you
Yep.
and
go.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Somebody in Singapore has downloaded like 10 episodes. So, shout out to whoever you are in Singapore, which is kind of cool.
Hey.
Keep it going.
Um, So, speaking of that, let's jump into that. How did they find you? How did they uh, get you into that?
All right. Well, God, we did this show for 10 years. It's been what, 3 years since now?
Two
And
since the
and
last
and
film,
they
yeah.
still won't tell me who the original guy I replaced was. 'Cause supposedly I wasn't the first pick, and I don't blame them. But whatever was the first person didn't work out, and in all these years, nobody will tell me who it was, which still drives me crazy. Um, but yeah, I just got a phone call out of the blue. I was actually forging in the shop in PA. Beautiful sunny day, doors open. Yeah, I get a call, say, "Hey, this is so and so from the History Channel. We're gonna we're talking about starting this knife forging TV show, competition show. Are you interested?" I said, "No, no, not really. It doesn't sound like fun to me." I mean, I in my defense, I was enjoying myself that day, and I really didn't care about anything else. And I already did the Master Smith thing. I didn't think I had to prove anything to anybody. So competition, if it's for fun, that's one thing. For charity, another. But for TV, I wasn't too into it. And they talked to me a few more minutes, and they said, "Well, we want you to be a judge instead of a competitor. We want you to sit up there and be one of the judges." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, that's different. Let's talk about that." So I thought that was a cool idea. And I said, "Heck, let's try it." And the lady, they talked to me for about 10 minutes before I believed who they really were. Um, and they told me, they said, "Well, we're going to do a pilot out in Seattle in a few weeks or whatever." And the guy who started the show, Forge and Fire, is also the guy who started the show Chopped, which I used to watch constantly. I used to love that show. So I said, "Heck, if nothing else, I get to meet the guy who started Chopped." So I went out there, and then all hell broke loose.
8 to 10 years later, here
Yeah.
we are having this
Fun fact, I
conversation.
Yeah.
think I'm friends with that guy on Facebook. Can't think of
Good
his name.
possibility.
I can't think of who his name is, but I met him through another friend of mine who does teaches marketing, social media marketing, and visibility
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook. So, a shout out to Dr. Robert Garcia. He's deployed right now on the East Coast, doing his little Air Force stuff. Sure, and he's fancy his little Air Force chair, and I'm kind of picking on him, ribbing him a little bit. So, anyway, sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No worries, man.
So, but squirrel moment, as I call those. But anyway, continue that they called you up and you're like, all right. So
Yeah,
Went out to Seattle.
they flew me out to Seattle. Um, I only spent a couple days there. It was pretty much an in and out trip. I met Dave and Doug for the first time. Had no idea who they were. None of us knew each other. Apparently, Dave and Doug had talked for a couple weeks beforehand before I showed up. So they're like, "Oh, who's this? Who's this Neilson guy? He's one of these master smiths. He's probably one of these cocky guys who thinks he's better than everybody else and all that stuff, you know." So I showed up and was not anything what they expected, and it worked out fine. The pilot was terrifying because you had two guys on either end of the forge, two forges, and it was a very thrown together operation. For what it was very well done, but it was still scary when having rubber gas lines going across the floor and people dropping hot metal on them. That's a little scary at times.
keep you on your
But it was
toes.
just a pilot. It was just a pilot. That's why you'll never see the pilot, probably. It'll probably never air because of those reasons.
That'd be
And
fun to watch, though.
I'd
Yeah,
love to see
it
it
would be
again.
hilarious, I think.
Well, what I'd like to see is when we first got there and they're like, "Okay, here's this table, here's some stools." And I looked over at Dave. I'm like, "What the hell are we supposed to talk about for 3 hours? I never talked for 3 hours straight in my life." And not only did we constantly talk, barely took a breath for the next 3 hours, we never even sat in those damn stools. We stood the whole time because we were just fascinated with what was going on.
That's
Plus,
awesome.
watching somebody burn their facial hair and eyebrows off is pretty cool, too. So,
I may have done
And
that. I had a flash a few times. I literally singed, off the forge, lighting the gas forge when I first got it. And actually, the one time I got it, I started the stove out in the shop and put a little too much lighter fluid in there, threw the match in, and it took my eyebrow off. Singed. I had to go get my beard all trimmed up, my hair shortened. Yeah, it was bad. It smelled like popcorn for a week.
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of the stories that he said, or just one of the comments that he makes regularly that I find pretty funny, is him and Doug talked about, after filming the first season, there's no way that they're going to get more seasons, and then here they are 8 years later, and it was still going. They never have really officially told him absolutely not, but he hasn't shot anything in 2 years.
Yeah. We're not officially canceled, but there's supposed to be new episodes coming out this month.
Well, there was an announcement of some new episodes that hadn't been aired before, but it wasn't. It was only on certain networks, and you couldn't see it here in the U.S. So, I don't know.
And
they're squeezing every dime they can out of it, I guess.
and they don't keep me or Dave or Doug or anything informed of when they're gonna put stuff up so we can promote it or anything. So it just kind of comes willy nilly.
Yeah. I've noticed that on the end of Being the Spin that was being on it. Hey, I learned about it through Facebook. Somebody leaked it out, and I'm like, all right. And then a week later, I get the email. I'm like, ooh, I could have been talking about a week earlier. Oops, because I thought it was already out.
I mean, you'd think they would just have a button with a group chat for Forge and Fire. Just hit this button, say, "Hey, we're gonna air these. Talk about it."
Right.
But yeah, it's TV. It's different.
Well, yeah, that I learned. I mean, their schedule and everything being out there, and then we did it out in the middle of the sunlight, which would have been fine. But I'm from Utah, high country desert boy, and it was 92% humidity that day.
Ooh.
Yeah,
you don't
that makes somebody
sweat.
pass out.
I almost did. I actually walked off for about 30 minutes. About called it.
It's not a joke. It's really no joke.
Well, when you got those 4 forges out there in this little back there in the back where where your trailer was sitting at there in the back cul-de-sac, they had it all kinked in there. Of course, the judges underneath their nice little tarp and everything, and a little fan blowing on them.
I was smart when I made that. They called me.
Say that again.
I said I was smart when they called me. I said I'll be a judge.
Yeah.
Right. It was terrifying, but because I've never done anything like that. I mean, I used to be when I was in school, tried to do a play. No, I chickened out. I've never been the one to get up in front of people and do stuff, but knife making is something I can lose myself into and not forget about anything. I almost elbowed the camera guy because they come up right here and I'm focused here, and I'm kind of jumpy. I'm jumpy by nature because we had to be jumpy around Dad a little bit because my dad's a Vietnam veteran, and Dad is one of those. He gets hyper focused on something. You tap him on the shoulder, you got to duck. He's not as bad as it used to be when we were growing up, but I mean he's tempered over time.
Yeah, I experienced a bunch of that working at Naval Weapons Station Earl and Colts Neck when I was younger.
Yeah, you learned real quick. And the guy come up and all of a sudden I hear a camera and they tapped me on the shoulder and I just went like this. They never showed it. It would have been funny though.
Those guys duck and dodge quite a bit and they're pretty good at it.
I've noticed he backed up real quick, scared the snot out of me. So, and it was a learning experience because I'm not one of those when I'm here doing this and then they come ask their questions. I'm like, loading.
Yeah.
Process. So, what is one of the most memorable moments being a judge and back there that they may have not shown? I watched the show on and off. A lot of times I couldn't watch it because I know it's a competition. I've been there, but there's like, please don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of teeth grinding and lip biting and stuff like that up there at the judge's chair. But I learned to get over that. I learned to get over that after a few seasons, especially after we did the Quillian dagger, where I actually used my Master Smith Quillian dagger, and those episodes where it was like, my dagger, Doug's karambit, whatever. That judge got to go down and twice during the episode.
That was a good episode.
Have a few words with each of the contestants. I got cured of worrying about that kind of stuff because 3 out of the 4 people never listened to anything I had to say anyway. So I just said, all right, well, you're on your own.
What was real funny is when I pulled it up and had my dad watch it when it first, I think it was about season 2, season 3. I think it was more entertainment to watch my dad just cringe and just like, what are you doing? It's like, you remember it's for TV and
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
So then
Well,
I
and
get
a lot of people will come up and say, "Oh, I started making knives because I watched Forged in Fire," and Jay's like, "Well, that's an example of what not to do. It's not what how to do it; it's what not to do when you're forging knives."
Yeah, that's pretty much
um
it.
I say the same thing in my knife classes. They were really popular for quite a while. It's kind of tapered off for a little bit, but slowly starting to pick back up. A lot of people come in, oh, I watch Fortune Fire, and I'm like, all right, hold up, stop the break. What you see on that show is made for TV. Believe me, I'm kind of an expert on that, but let me show you how to do it right. So,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that
um,
was one of the things when the show first started. Um, two things that I found very humorous. One was when they first tried to give me a script. Um, I thought that was great because I looked at and I felt like a jerk. I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but this poor lady's handed me a script, and I looked at the script and I looked at her. I was like, "Do you know how to make knives?" She said, "No." "Do you know how to fix knives when problems are going wrong on the floor?" "No." "Then how are you going to write what you want me to say?" So that was the end of the scripts. That took care of that. Um,
nice.
yeah, that was um, yeah, very unscripted. They give us some topics every once in a while to hit on, but yeah, most of the reading and stuff Will had to do that stuff, or Grady. That was their thing. The other thing when we first started is the TV people were all like, "Well, how do we build drama into this show? We got to build drama."
God.
And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I ain't gonna tell you how to do your job, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: you don't need to build drama. These people are gonna drive themselves crazy enough. And they were like, "Okay, well, I talked to them a little bit, and it's okay. Well, we'll give it a couple episodes and see." After the first episode, they were like, "Oh yeah, we ain't got to do nothing to these people. They're gonna kill themselves."
Oh
I
boy.
tried to warn them. They didn't know what they were getting into. A bunch of knife
Well,
makers.
I've learned that talking to a few of the people there and such is, this is a whole, I mean, they've been in the whole video and everything else, kind of, and the production and such like that. When they started working here, they're like, I've learned a lot of shit. I didn't know this was even possible, let alone one person says, I didn't know this was even legal to do. I'm like, what?
Sometimes it is a little, it's a little dangerous sometimes.
It is. It can be if you're not paying attention, Um, well, let's bring this up. 20 some years ago, I put a knife into my inner thigh, this
Hmm.
far away from the femoral artery. I think I mentioned that to you on one of your reels when you were talking about your buffer. The
Hmm.
buff,
Mhm.
Oh
and I
yeah.
noticed there's no buffers, and that's probably the number one reason. The buffer in the shop is the most dangerous tool next to the drill.
He told
Um,
me that at the very beginning when I started. He's like, "This is the thing you need to be scared of," because I'm squeamish with chops. I was squeamish with chop saws and all that kind of thing. He goes, "No, no, no, no. This right here is the most dangerous thing. This is
Yeah.
what you got to look out
The
for."
the little the little fluffy machine with the
Yeah.
fluffy wheels and the nice soft stuff. Yeah, that's the one that's gonna kill you.
yeah, I put it was about an inch and a half deep in my thigh. Like I said, I missed a femoral artery about 2 to 3 inches. I was at the ER. It was my family doc who was the the on-call doc for the ER that day, and he comes in. Oh, that's cool. Puts his glove on, sticks his finger in my leg, and I go, "Ow, that hurt. Oh, did that hurt? Oh, here, let me stab you." Of course, that's my doctor's sense of humor. It's just how he is. And oh, I'm quite quiet. It'll be just fine. Of course, I'm more terrified about getting the shot, the numbing agent. He put two in. I was like, okay, that's enough to stitch it up. That's fine. I actually put a chainsaw on the other leg the previous year before that too. So,
Dang.
Ouch.
right.
We're not hanging out in his yard.
No.
Well, the chainsaw thing was I wasn't paying attention. I was working for a fencing company, and I was using my leg to push the stuff out of the way instead of setting the saw, stopping the saw. Being dumb teenager. I was like 19 at the time. Yeah, about 19, 18, 19. Yeah, I was 18 because I just graduated that summer, that spring.
Hmm.
So being a dumbass. Um,
It happens.
but yeah, I mean, knife making is fun. I've had probably about 5 people take my class that caught the bug.
Hmm.
One guy came over. He took a blacksmith knife making class. He just wanted to get the kind of taste for it, see if it's something he wanted to do. He's actually a shop teacher at one of the local high schools in the next county over. A year later, he sends me a message. Hey, I've been playing with it for the last year. Can I come over and have you look at these knives?
Mm-hmm.
And within a year, from just taking one little class on the blacksmith knife, you do the blade and then the rat tail handle and everything. Just keep it simple for some of those folks that don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get real to it. The guy got bit by the bug, and $6,000 later, him and his son, that's their projects during the weekend, and
Yeah.
wow, they were doing great. They would give him a little bit of critiquing that I thought they could use, and I mean, seriously, there's some of the guys that took the class. I'm like, I don't. You need to talk to like Jay or my dad or somebody that's a little bit more up on the ladder than me, give you critique and type things. So it's great to see it, and then people who just want to come do that for that hot, the experience and such. It's
Mm-hmm.
just they're like they go ahead.
I have noticed that the fans of knife making is all ages and all different backgrounds, little girls and their dad wanting to do it's really pretty cool. And the show, when I talk about this show to other people that aren't even knife makers, they're like, "Oh yeah, we used to watch it," and it would be whole families. It would be moms, dads, and kids. And one of the nurses that I worked with here several months ago, she said, "My grandmother watches that show." She goes, "She would be so excited." She literally called her grandma, an 80-something-year-old lady, and she goes, "I'm talking to the wife of one of the judges on Forged in Fire. You remember Jay?" And her grandmother just got so excited. And I'm like, I'm his wife, I mean, it's like that. It's not like she was talking directly to Jay. But I just thought that was so neat that somebody like that was that into the show, into that TV show. And knowing that, I mean, she'd never made it. She just liked the show, the competition part of it, I guess.
Well, I just had to go to a doctor's appointment
Oh, yeah.
this week. And, I don't think, like I said, we haven't shot anything in a couple of years. I don't think that much about it, This poor doctor, this lady walked in. Apparently she was a fan of the show because she couldn't talk. I felt bad because I thought she had a speech impediment because she was stuttering so badly. And I'm looking at Shelley. I'm like, what's going on here?
I really thought that too. I thought she stuttered, and then after she got over her initial, her little face, she had a mask on and her face was red and everything, and she was stuttering. And then once she got over that initial little fangirl phase, she was talking, and she, clicked right into professional mode and everything. But it used to happen.
It was funny though.
Quite a bit more when we were out in public, but it's gotten a little less lately. But it's still funny when somebody recognizes him, because I didn't know when I met him, I didn't know anything about Forged in Fire, never saw it, didn't think it was, didn't know what to think of it. And so I have never looked at him like as somebody that's on TV. So when somebody comes up and starts talking about, or, they recognize him and stuff, it's almost a little funny to me, because I never saw him that way. I don't think of him in that way.
I don't see me that way either.
Yeah, he doesn't either.
I don't think of me that way either. I mean, I appreciate the fans and all that stuff, but I'm just not that. I'm not that kind of person. I appreciate it, but hey, I work in my shop by myself. That's what I planned on doing my whole life. I didn't plan on TV and all that stuff.
Status,
yeah, well, it's like Canadian style.
What was really cool when I first met you 4 years ago, I think, and that first time you came to Texas Select, what you're on the show is totally not who you are when you're in person. You walk up to, hey man, what the fuck? Well, I'm just sitting there chatting with you, and it's like cutting the shit like anybody else. Like we've known each other for years. It's like, well, that was cool. And my kids got to meet you at Blade Show in 2021, and of course my daughter's all scared. It's like, Jay's just cool. He go out there and take a picture with him. He'll do it. So
yeah.
She goes out. She's still every now and then. She hasn't done a knife for a little while. She's into doing crocheting right now, and she's crocheting up a storm. Every time we go to the store, she spends $20-$30 in yarn.
Yeah.
But she every now and then when she wants some serious money, she'll jump out the shop. Dad, can you help me with this? All right. She's got 2 knives out there. So it's something she can do when she wants to. Granted that if she did it a lot more, she'd be a lot better at it. But hey,
Well, it's like my kids. My 2 kids, they got into trying knives, and they did it for a while, you know, but you got to figure they're young kids, you know, their attention span isn't going to stick. And if nothing else, even if they don't get into it and keep doing it, at least they learned a skill or learn the basis of a skill that they can use later, or maybe, you know, use in another way or something like that. You know, you at least teach them to use tools and use your hands and stuff
Well,
like that.
when I got into it, I started learning when I was 9, 10 years old. I didn't really start making and selling until I was 13. Before that, I was making the knives and giving away to my friends, or you know, every now and then I'll sell one here and there. But by the 13, I started made a bunch. Went to a show. Of course, that was the first show I had a guy lay open his hand.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that yeah. So every time, ever since then, anybody runs their finger on that, just like, please don't do that until you get off my property.
yeah.
Please don't do
I,
that. Yeah, I mean, he
I would
laid his.
always Oh, sorry. I would always keep a stack of either Barney or Tweety Bird Band-Aids, the little kid Band-Aids, like the pink and I mean the colorful ones,
Obnoxious one.
obnoxious as possible. And that's anybody who cut themselves at my table, that's what they got.
Yeah. That's funny.
Um, yeah, I kind of like saying now is now, hey, you bleed on it, you buy it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so people are a lot more careful with it. I've got people to this day that will never let me sharpen their knives again because apparently I make them too sharp.
I
Um,
didn't know that was possible.
Well, it is for people who don't know how to use knives.
Oh.
well, here I got a little story. So last fall, my daughter's
Whoop.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
That
timer's
was a
up,
lot.
folks. We're out of here.
That was an alarm for me to post something on social media every day. And you can see by my track record, I don't pay attention to that alarm very often.
I used to do that too, but now I just post videos and clips and everything else. So my daughter's got a little boyfriend. We're at that age now, so he had a deer tag last fall, and I was like, well, she's talking, it's like, oh, she asked me to say, hey, can we make a knife for it? Take one of the knives and make for him. So we did. We went out and worked on it and everything else. Gave it to him. She did a really nice job. I'll have to see if I got a picture of it. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
Got some henna material from Buddy Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
That was some beautiful stuff, kind of a copper resin type. It was, I'm gonna have to call him up and say, hey, send me some of this. So we sent it to him, and he got a little buck the last day of the hunt. He went hunting with his grandfather, and later on was talking to his grandma about it. She's like, I think that knife was way too sharp. And I started chuckling. She's like, what's so funny? I said, I'm not trying to be rude, but most people don't know what a real knife is
Yeah.
or how knives are really sharpened and everything else. And I was kind of explaining to her, she says, is there a way to make it less sharp? Like, no.
Yeah,
I
keep
says,
using
you'll
it.
cut yourself more. I've cut myself with more unsharpened knives and dull knives in my entire life
Exactly.
than I have a sharp knife, exception for the one catching off the buffer into my thigh, which I don't recommend.
No,
Right.
definitely not. I don't want to try that one.
Speaking of the buffer, I did learn something cool that I would never know from Jay Nelson's little video clip on his buffer. You're talking about your buffer and then where your plunge line is. If you're changing up and doing hand sanding, you
Mm-hmm.
could go in and use the corner of the buffer. And I can't remember what the compound you said. There was I think you
Green
said
chrome.
the green chrome. Okay, I knew it
Yep.
was something green, but I could not remember.
Yep.
I have never in my life thought, and I don't do much polishing
Mm-hmm.
or most of my I take up the 400 grit. Usually can get away with just doing everything on the grinder because kind of lazy that way. If I do hand sand, I use a 6-inch air pneumatic for auto body when you're doing the fenders and such.
Orbital.
Yes,
orbital.
thank you.
Yep.
I should have had more coffee. That's what I should have done. So I use that because, well, as you know, I'm 40 now. I'm starting to feel the shoulders and the hands and everything. That helps out, but I've never thought about doing that. So I did do a J tip, and I'll tell you what, thank you for that. That was badass.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't use the buffer that much, really. Most of my stuff is etched. I mean, I'm not big on shiny stuff. I like dark blades and Damascus,
Forged
sand
finish.
mize, forged finishes. So I don't polish much anyway. And since I took the trip to Australia, did the Sydney show and taught over there, and
Let's
I
talk
came back
about
with the
that.
Aussie oil. That stuff's fantastic.
You don't need the buffer for Aussie oil
Yeah,
either.
you don't
So
need the buffer. It's 100 times faster than anything else. I love it. I get people all the time saying, "Hey, I don't even use my buffer anymore."
Yeah.
But that tip with the plunge grinds, yeah, I learned that one. I picked that one up a while ago, and that's a big help for because even when I'm etching knives, I still hand sand everything. At least 400-600 grit hand rub on everything. Make sure all the lines are going the right way. No machine scratches are in there and stuff. So I'm still hand rubbing them. I'm just not worried about fish hooks
Yeah.
Nice.
when it's etched. And yeah, trying to get into that plunge grind, taking little round rods and chainsaw files and trying to shape this and that. And now taking the flexible belt, running over the edge of the plat, even it up, and then buffing it. Best way to clean it up, fastest way to clean it up.
Yeah. I wish I'd
I
have known
think I
that
should write some
decades
DVDs
ago.
or books or something on how to do this stuff.
Teach
Right?
classes, do some podcasts, something like that. I don't know.
I'm not much of a reader. I'm one of those that, I can read, but just to sit there and read, it's the most boring thing ever. Give me a good audiobook. Now,
Mm.
Yeah.
now, hey, there we go. We got to get Jay doing audiobooks of his books.
Yeah, we could do that.
That would be fun.
That would be funny. I listen to audiobooks in the shop all the time, but
He
nothing to do with
does.
knife making.
Yeah. No.
So do
Yeah.
I.
Nothing to do with knife making.
Usually Stephen King books, but
I'm more partial to Brad Thor books, and one of these days I'll sit down and finish
yeah.
my book I've been working on for almost 10 years now. My daughter's translating it. I handwritten it out, so my daughter's typing it up in her
Nice.
one class. It's study hall. She's like, I got nothing to do, but they put me in study hall because there's nothing else to do. So I just usually just sit there. I'll take your book and finish typing it up, and it's funny because when she's typing it, she's reading it. A couple of things I put in there, a couple of dreams and a couple of nightmares within the characters having. And she comes back, Dad, you ever consider therapy? You're demented. Of course, she's a
That's
carbon
funny.
copy of me in the female form, which is, oh, my mom just sits back and laughs. Just, ha, 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 ha. So
That's funny.
Payback.
Yeah.
let's jump into it. Let's talk about your show in Sydney. You want to share a little bit about that and your experiences down there?
It was great. Well,
Gamma.
Gamico started carrying Broadbeck grinders, and the guys from Broadbeck couldn't make it over there. So they asked if we wanted to go over and kind of be presenters for Broadbeck and do the Sydney Knife Show. And
Heck yeah.
well, yeah, I always wanted to go to Australia. That was one of my things on my bucket list. And
Lucky.
so they flew us out there and they said, "Hey, while you're out here, you want to hang out for a week and teach classes?" So we did that. Was it Everly Works?
Yes, Everly
Works
in Sydney.
Yeah, we went down there and we taught a couple canister Damascus classes, met a whole bunch of really cool people. God, it was like Christmas. We came back with so much stuff. God, they kept giving us stuff.
That was my second time to Australia, and I love Australia and I love Australians, and they really took very good care of us.
Mhm.
And everybody we met was super nice.
Absolutely.
Everly Works there is just, that place is so cool. It's in a historic
It's a railroad.
railroad steam. Was it steam? Or something? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was steam. Yeah.
It was in an old manufacturing plant that they have converted into office and retail spaces, but they still left Everly Works out there, and they do all kinds of metallurgy classes and demonstrations, and they do a lot of the metal art and blacksmithing and knife making, and it was just so cool. It was a really, really cool experience.
So that gives me a question here. So is it pretty much like walking anything like we do here in the States, or I'm sure they got their own cultural twist to it or is it just basically
It's pretty much the same.
Well, somebody over there gave us this thing or told us Australians are just pretty much Texans with funny accents. So
pretty much?
Yeah.
No,
I've heard that.
they do have tighter rules, like you can't just carry a knife. So a lot of these knife makers, making the blades and stuff like that, kind of have to be careful. They don't have I think you can't carry anything bigger than like a pocket knife or something. They definitely have different laws about weapons and weapon making, but they do okay over there.
It was funny when we were at Everly. Mark, right? Was it Mark who runs it?
No.
What's
Tim? I can't remember. I think it's Tim.
Anyway, the gentleman who runs it, I'll have to look his name up. We were talking before doing the classes and we were planning things and setting stuff up. and he said he had gotten an email from Forged in Fire, from the people of Forged in Fire at History Channel, about doing an Australian version of Forged in Fire. Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah, I thought the same thing. I told him,
And
I said,
let me
hey,
guess, the government laws wouldn't allow it.
no idea. I told him, I said, if you find that email, send it to me, and I'll reach out to the Forged in Fire people, because I thought it would have been perfect, because the knife making bug, you know how everything Forged in Fire, and then the COVID came and a whole bunch of knife makers just kind of sprung up. They did that in Australia, just a couple years behind us. So if they had done a Forged in Fire then, it would have been kind of like when it started in the US, almost like the same level where the makers are at. I said, hey, you guys, I'll go to Australia for the season. I'll go there. I'll be one of the judges. Fly me out there. I can. It's not like Doug down in South America. He can understand Spanish. I can't. I can understand Australian for the most part. So, but yeah, I never heard anything back. So we'll see.
That would be cool to see. I have pulled up a few episodes of down in Mexico and South America. I just wish it could have. I wish I could understand Spanish, because that looked really cool. I'm actually friends with some of them on Facebook after that episode. They said, "Hey, here's a link. You can watch it on YouTube." Da da da. Which is really cool to check that out. One thing at Fortune Fire. Now, like I said, I grew up around it and everything, but back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have this, as you know. You've done started out you had your knife magazines, you had your big catalog with all the makers in it. Sevier County and San Pete County has some of the bigger names like Busker Warnski, Jim Ants. We got Johnson, who's still with us. Uh, Young Knives, Jenkins. A few of these guys that like way out there. And if you don't know who Busker Warnski is, I encourage you to look him up. He's been gone 20 years now. Look up the Gem of the Orient. I was a kid when I got to see that in person. Still, wow. Have you seen pictures of that thing?
Absolutely.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
Buster's work was amazing.
Listening to the stories, people like, you know Buster Orange? Well, yeah, I grew up playing in his backyard. Really? What was his shop like? A lot smaller than mine, and a lot dirtier than, not as impressive you think it would be, except for the engraving part. But when he did the King Tut recreation blade and everything else, it actually blew up on him twice and shot BBs of gold everywhere. He
Oh,
spent,
jeez.
Wow.
oh
Wow.
yeah, because I guess the Egyptian gold had contained like 10% iron, and he's
Okay.
kind of making that up and everything, and it shot BBs everywhere. So he spent a week cleaning up BBs everywhere in the
Oh
shop.
gosh.
So that's just a fun
Trials
story
and
that I remember
tribulations.
here when I was a kid, because he was one of my dad's mentors. As he was making his knives and such. There for a while in the early 90s, I remember hearing people talk about Dad. Dad used to make, when he first started out, did all his Damascus pretty much by hand with a sledgehammer, layering it and drawing it out. So
Yeah.
before he got
Back in the
power
days
hammers.
before presses.
Oof.
Well, and then again, I was kind of naive growing up because Dad had little giant trip hammers. About the time I was like 3 or 4, finally got a couple of those hammers. So I grew up spoiled. So when I started going around seeing everybody else's shop, I'm like, oh, there's a lot more to this than I thought, because, again, grew up around it, seeing what my dad had, seeing what the other guys around our area had, similar shops. But since Fortune Fire and making great friends like you and Shelley there, I finally found my tribe, I guess you can say. Never been fit into anywhere in real life or growing up through school. Going to a knife show is more like a family reunion than an actual knife show at the end.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, competition's like we might be in competition with each other, but we at least support each other, unlike other places.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that really drew me to the community whenever the first time I went to a knife show with him. I was really amazed. I was like, this is pretty cool. There's some really nice people.
You would think if there was going to be a community of backstabbers, it would be knife makers, but no.
I mean,
But
there's
they're the friendliest people in the world. They help all the time.
Everybody
Hey, how do you do that?
Everybody helps.
They tell you.
And back to what you were saying about being a little bit spoiled, that's me.
Oh yeah.
I am learning in a shop that he has spent, you know, his lifetime in. And the thing about Jay's shop, a lot of people comment how fast he is. It's because his shop is thought out. He really is, and he'll admit it. He is probably one of the laziest knife makers you'll ever meet. But saying that, you go in his shop and you literally have to take less than 2 steps for the next step that you need. You know, he's got extra grinders, so you're not, you know, swapping stuff out, have all the neat little tools. And he continues to amaze me. We're going through the process of doing something, and like, well, I hit a hiccup, very common hiccup, you know, every knife maker does. He goes, oh, well, this is how you fix it. And he'll have like some little specialty tool for that problem. I can't think of one right off the top of my head, but it's literally right there. He knows exactly where it's at. Everything's clean and organized, and he'll grab it and he'll show you how to use it. So I have that you know, advantage over everybody, is I'm learning with, you know, 30 years of experience, and all the little mishaps and missteps that everybody makes. He has a solution for it because he's done it.
And that's one thing I like about the camaraderie of the bladesmith community is I picked a few tricks up here and there. I'm still trying to get, I've got a lot more equipment to get. There's a lot of cool little tricks like the buffer trick that Jay did in his video. I'm like, I would never have thought, because I sit there with the sandpaper. Oh my God. You know what? I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to etch it because I hate the old fashioned with the blocks and sanding. And no, sorry. I have too much ADHD for that. Give me that air center, especially for my chef knives that I've been playing with. I'm not going to say here I make the best chef knife yet. I have gotten better since looking at my pictures. Like, oh wow, okay, I'm actually doing a little bit more shine, and I've had some good constructive criticism. Here we go, big words. Sorry,
It's okay.
a few of you guys who gave me some good input. And it's like, all right, so I'll do a little bit more like this, make aerodynamics of the blade better. But when I do those, I'll do the DA air sander, orbital sander, and the finish comes out pretty nice. I like to acid etch mine. I don't like to go buffing, because by the time I'm done, I'm covered head and toe in compound and everything else. And
Oh yeah.
that's just the thing I don't like. But it's just nice to see those little tricks, and like you see something, you see somebody on a video like Jay's or another person, or you, hey, I'm going to try that. Do you mind? Do it. You know, I've only run into a few, like one or two guys that, well, I'll show you, but you can't do it. But all right.
There's a couple floating around. There's not too many anymore. When I first started, there was a lot more, especially when the forge welding was becoming more common again, thanks to Bill Moran bringing that back, and it started becoming a thing again. But especially since Forge and Fire, but even before that, you know, people started, you know, not being tight-lipped about stuff, but sharing more things and whatnot. And again, like Shelley said, that's one of the great things about this community is 99% of everybody in it is more than happy to tell you how they did it, where they got their stuff, answer any kind of questions. I know I do all the time.
Yeah.
I answer questions for folks constantly. It's part of my job. I consider it.
And people, a lot of people are shocked when they send him an email on the website and it's him that answers. Well, of course it's him that answers.
Yeah, I get people email me. Yes, can somebody on Jay's staff reply to this question or something like that? And it's like, you just do realize it's really just me sitting in the shop and in the office.
Yeah, and when we're out at events and you have younger knife makers, you know, they always come up and like, oh, look where I'm at, look where I'm headed. Jay always tells them, just reach out if you have questions or problems, and he means it. And you know, that's the general attitude about in the knife making community, and that's what makes it really cool.
That's the way it should be. Make everybody's lives a lot easier.
Yeah.
Oh, I had something I was going to mention, but now it'll come back to me. Shit, what the hell was I going to mention? Along that lines of, oh, for hell's sake, it'll come back. I hate that. You get that
They'll
thought
come back
right
around.
here, pause, and wonderful world ADHD. A lot of us are, I call it the misfits of it, because we're all kind of just our own little misfit in our own little way.
Well, that's like Shelley talking about with me putting tools. People complain, well, not complain, comment all the time that my shop is very, very clean. I don't do much more than put my stuff back as I'm using it so I can
Yeah.
find it again, which drives me insane. I've had grown men that have been making knives for longer than me take a tool off my pegboard, put it on the bench, and I'd look at them and say, "Is that where that came from?"
Sorry, Dad.
Between that and just taking a leaf blower and blowing out the shop every once in a while because I'm too lazy to sweep, that's about it. I just
Yeah.
put my stuff back as I'm using it.
Yeah.
Kind of
Well,
like when we're doing a dinner, doing a nice dinner, or we're baking something. We do our dishes as we're cooking.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
well, you probably wouldn't like my shop because my bench is a next up closer than that. Uh,
I had to work next to
but
Dave Baker on days off. I can deal with anything. He's a big pile of stuff on the table at the end of the day.
well, I try to keep my trash the best I can. I try to do better and such. But one thing you want to screw me up is just move my. I got a hammer that's just for my bench. It's
Mm.
a little ball peen hammer. If you move that from where it was, where I set it, you will screw me up for 30 minutes because it'll be
Oh yeah.
literally 6 inches away.
Yep.
And I got a few things that got to go back where it got to go because if it doesn't go back there, I have no idea where it is. It's like I was talking to Jonathan and his wife at the Blade Bar. Had that
Oh yeah.
we just interviewed them, and it's like we was talking. It's like you move something, and it's like a little punch. It was sitting on the little anvil back of my vise. It rolled off on the tongue of the vise.
Oh, yeah.
I spent 20 minutes looking for it. Forget it. Went and got another one. Got working, looked down, caught it out of the corner of my eye. It was sticking out that much. It's like, son of a.
Yeah,
um,
that same way. I've got certain like punches or drifts or screwdrivers or little pair of cutters in certain spots because that's where I need it. That's where I do that
Mm-hmm.
particular chore. Don't move it.
Yeah.
Leave it there. And it's nothing worse than when I move it and put it down and forget.
And then
That's the
forget.
worst. I mean, if somebody else does it, I can yell at them. I could run around the shop screaming at myself for half an hour.
And I don't know what this says really about the shop. I don't want it to sound like I'm boasting about how big his shop in Pennsylvania is, but I don't know how many times you're moving around and you lay your blade down you're working on, and then you can't find it. You have to walk around looking for it because you stick it somewhere. So you're like, oh, I don't want it to fall off or I don't want it to get messed up. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I have to deal with. It's like, where the hell did I just put that thing?
I've literally thought about when I got a whole bunch of projects going, about some of them just taking some of that orange marker tape that you use in the yard
bright.
and just tie it on the tangs just so they stands out.
there you
So
go.
you can see it.
I remember two things that went by. One, Bill Moran taught my dad how to forge weld. I was a month old when they went up to, he was teaching a class out of Cheyenne, Wyoming at the university there. No,
Nice.
Nice.
Laramie, Wyoming. Sorry, Laramie, Wyoming.
Mhm.
I was a month old. I don't know if I went with or I probably left with my grandparents. Mom and dad went up there and he took a week-long class from him and everything. And that's how dad learned how. And dad kind of adopted his form of Damascus a little bit, except he mixed it
Mhm.
up 50-50 instead of, because Bill was going for more of the flexibility and
Mhm.
dad went more for the edge retention. So there for a while, dad was using 50% O1 tool steel, A36 steel. I did a little bit of that because that's what I was taught up till a few years ago. I hate doing that. I kind of I went the other directions, and then I had a family member who was on oil rigs.
Mhm.
He started bringing me cable. So I
Cable. Yep.
started playing
Yeah.
with that, and I fell in love with it. And people, I had a fun friend that he's like, "Well, that's kind of more like poor man's Damascus." It's like if you ever try to make really good, solid cable Damascus, it's not easy.
No.
No, it's not. And it's not at all.
But I like it. And at the time, my parents found a little 25-pound little giant, picked it up
Mhm.
for $200. It was laying out in the dirt in somebody's old dairy, not too far away from us. They gave it to me for my birthday. Car spoiled shit I am, I guess you could say. Um, I mean, they stole it for $200. The gal wanted a
Yeah,
hundred
Wow.
bucks for it.
absolutely.
The gal was like asking 100. Dad gave her 200. I got it. It's still sitting out in the shop here. It was actually made in 1946 because I got a hold of Little Giant. Shout out to folks at Little Giant if you got the
Yeah,
cable.
love
Absolutely.
them.
They're awesome. I still got to do that on my 50 pounder. I found a 50 pounder a few years ago for $2,500. Plug
Nice.
and play. That was fun to go grab. but I'm kind of pretty much set up the way my dad is. The other thing I was going to mention is this one thing about was talking to Jonathan and such about when you're doing classes, and something I didn't realize until I started doing them. You actually have to stop because you, Jay, when you're out there working, you just go boom, boom through the motions and such. When they ask you a question, you literally got to stop. And for me to teach myself how to do something that's just so muscle memory and so quick and easy to do, to break that down into words was one of my biggest struggles, and still to
Mm-hmm.
this day, to how to
Yeah.
interpret what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will do the grinder part. Some people, can we just watch? I'll try it. And they're like, can you just finish it up?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
my biggest thing is I'll kind of explain to them a little bit what they're doing wrong. And it's like, okay, I'm going to show you how to fix that. It's going to be easier for me to show you than try to give you words. And
Mm-hmm.
that seems to work pretty good. Of course, I get on there and go make one little pass, and you've seen it. They get an angle here and an angle here and an angle here, and I go
They
one
get
quick pass,
facets.
Yeah.
and they get that little nervous and such. You see it in their shoulders. I watch their shoulders because I'll watch their blade and I'll watch their shoulders. As soon as that, because, well, I'm sure you did it when you first started. You get nervous and you get that
Oh yeah.
step back
Oh
from the
yeah.
grinder, shake it out, breathe. And I keep doing that. It's like, all right, I'm going to step in and help out. But I'm so far, I hadn't had any complaints about my class. At least, I know everybody seems to give me a 5-star goal rating on Google for it. So, I mean,
Nice.
Sounds good.
so I'm thinking they're being a little generous personally, but um,
That was one of the things that I ran into learning from him is he would I mean I caught on pretty quick, and I some things came naturally, some things I just kind of figured out, but there was some stuff I'd have to tell him and remind him, you have to show, I've never done this before, so you need to take my hand and show me how to do it, because he would just kind of forget and just automatically assume, oh, she'll figure it out or whatever. And I think that's helped him a little bit too, just to kind of stop and think, oh, this person may have never done it before or done it like this before. And yeah, I kind of had to remind him a couple of times.
Yeah, you did. Well, I'd get in there and I'd just start working and I just
Yeah.
just start doing my thing. Leave poor
well,
Shelley in the dust.
and I
Well, that's
teach.
what I'm teaching classes. Usually, what I'll do because I'm I read books my entire life. Always enjoyed them, but an instruction book, I can read something how to do it 10 times and not get it. But if you show me how to do it, then I can usually pick it up pretty quick.
Visual.
So when I'm teaching, I usually make a knife also with the students. So here's Mon, this is what we do. I explain what I'm doing. I'll explain while I do it, and then try it. If you're cool with it, if you think you're about to screw it up, you want me to help, let me know. I always make a point because I've done this long enough. I've run into some people in classes that will get upset with you if you try to take their knife away and fix it for them. Some people want to do it all themselves, and some people actually really want to learn. Some people are just there for the experience to hang out with the guy from Forge and Fire. So
I
whatever. But yeah,
I
being
had
visually oriented, I demonstrate and talk through it.
I had a guy in a class, had that Wisconsin accent, and we tried to give him little pointers. And I had a friend of mine who come down. He's kind of my apprentice. Kind of one of the teaching styles that has helped him is have him help him in my classes a little bit. And we're trying to help him a little bit. And he's like, "Oh, I got this." He started out a really nice drop point hunter. By the time he left with a paring knife
Yep.
Oops.
because he
Oh yeah.
wouldn't. He wouldn't. I finally sat back. He's like, I just tapped him. Like, just let him. Just
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. And he,
Er,
and again,
er,
went from this to, this a really nice, beautiful paring knife. His wife, on the other hand, did absolutely amazing. She listened. She tried this. She get right in there, and she gloated all the way home. And then
oh,
by
I bet, yeah.
I
I've
got a
had a
message
couple like
from
that,
her.
yeah.
A message from her says, "I don't know if we should have took that class." I says, I spent over $2,000 on equipment, just forging equipment so far. We haven't found a grinder yet, but I just ordered a
Yeah.
grinder, so she took it
It's
to
an
such a
addiction, it
one.
really is.
Yeah.
And I've had groups of teenage boys and teenage girls, and I'm going to tell you one thing: teenage girls listen a lot better than teenage boys.
Yeah. I
Um,
believe it.
Absolutely.
It's quite
I,
funny.
not even teenagers. It's still the same way.
I'm
Um,
just gonna sit over here.
That's right. We're almost done
oh,
anyway.
Yeah.
so just quick.
So yeah, can we talk about what's coming up so that we
Yeah, let's
can?
do that. I
We
got
gotta
a
get
question
going.
real quick I want to throw in there too.
Yep.
So,
Go ahead.
failures and growth. What is one of the failures of your career and that shaped you the most as a smith, and what did it teach you? And that could be for both of you so far.
I saw this question in the email. I can't really think of any one major thing. I mean, I did burn down one wall of the old shop. I mean, that wasn't that big of a deal. I was more damage from the fire department hosing all my tools down with gallons of water. I think main thing, and it's kind of what I look for in other makers, whether they're in the shop and I'm teaching them or just hanging out and talking. Um, not it's usually it's a series of small mistakes and small disasters. Like you know as well as I do, as soon as one tool in your shop goes down on you, within a day another one's going to go down. Um,
I'm actually
and
going through
working
that right
finding a
now.
workaround for that, even when, especially when you got orders. You know, you got to find a workaround, a way to get through stuff, and not letting that take a toll on you. You're gonna screw up every once in a while. It happens to me still. I'll screw up on a Damascus sometimes. Sometimes things don't stick. You know, sometimes you have a hard time forging out something just the way you want. You know, it's those kind of things. And I am a phenomenally impatient person. Aside from being one of the laziest knife makers, I'm incredibly impatient. I have some of the worst character flaws you can expect in a knife maker. But
Despite all that, you
but
do a good
despite all
job.
that, you got to keep improving. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you can get knocked down. You keep figuring out a way around it. Most of the stuff I learned knife making, I mean, I had a lot of help and a lot of good tips from people, but a lot of it was trial and error. And you know, there's a lot of failures. One thing on that, actually, this is probably a good way of doing it. You know, most knife makers got a bucket full of blades and never finished.
Or mistakes
Or
that
yeah,
they messed up halfway through, and
just
instead of
every
they're just like, well, we'll trash it.
every knife maker shop I've been to has got blades laying around that aren't finished because there's a flaw or anything. I don't have any of those, and it's not because I don't make flaws. I make plenty of them, but I would take those flawed knives, wrap the handles in duct tape or something, and test them and beat the hell out of them. And I figured this way, I'm getting some use out of it. It's still, if it ain't a perfect knife, it's still something I ground and heat treated. If it holds up halfway decent, that's pretty good for a crappy knife. The good ones should be even better. So I would use those failed knives as testing tools to help improve. Since I was doing everything was so, you know, learn by the seat of your pants kind of stuff. So I don't think it's any major problems or major situations. I think it's just sticking your head down and
Your
pulling
attitude.
your way through all the little problems because that's what really gets on me.
It's your attitude about your challenges, how you approach them and overcome them. I think more than anything.
Yeah, it sounds like more like your career than mine.
Yeah, that's
That,
it's the nursing coming
that's
out
a
of me.
nursing
Sorry.
education there. Holy cow!
that's
It's my
one
hardest
thing.
one.
One for me is, when you're working on something, it's driving you out. It's okay to set that down and come
Mm-hmm.
back and revisit it. One of the biggest challenges is back after I got off the show and feeling a little cocky after being on Forge and Fire a little bit. Buddy of mine, Dan, shout out to Dan DeMille, loves your stuff too. He's
Hi, Dan.
Hey,
a phenomenal. Matter of fact, I think I gave you him some of his comics. I think I gave you a comic of his. I
Maybe.
think. I
gotta
don't
double check.
remember.
Yeah, I think
If not, I'll send you out some. I know I
cool.
gave you a calendar, so um, but I was like, yeah. He's like, you want a challenge? Sure, give me a challenge. Draw up something. 6.5 years later, I finally finished it.
Oh my.
Wow.
Again, one of those procrastinating. And I get thinking about. I changed up so many different things on it. We forged that out of cable. I took 3 cables, about yay long, forged them down to a billet. We went out to my dad's shop because it had a little bit more room, more tools. We twisted all that together. It was fun, but it took me 6 years because I never built a okay. The name of it just went away. The same kind of broadsword they use in Braveheart.
Claymore.
Yes, it was a shorter claymore because
Mm.
Dan's just a short feller.
Mm.
And so that's kind of a pick on Dan, but but I finally, after 6 years of doing it, changing the hilt upon it several different ways, and because I've never built one like that, so now looking back at it, like I think I could do a lot better the next round if I decide to be dumb enough to try it again. I'm not a
Well,
sword
yeah.
maker. I've specialized most in my life is just the drop point hunter skinners, just like Dad
Mm.
is, but I've changed up and trying different things here and there.
Yeah,
Um,
Jay doesn't do swords either, and a lot
Yeah.
of people are a little bit taken back about that. And I as a knife maker don't think I would ever want to do a sword. Now that I know what it takes and everything, I don't know that I would ever want to try it.
Well, I'll throw this out there real quick, and then we're gonna do coming soons and wrap this up
Yeah.
because
yeah,
we
that
got a
works.
couple things we got to do. Um, People ask me about making swords, making folders, yada yada yada. I've done all this. I've done. I got into when I first got into the knife making. I was strictly stock removal first couple of years until I heard about Bill Moran and the Damascus. That is what got me foraging. If it wasn't for Bill and the Damascus making, I'd probably still be grinding blades out and not forging. That's what made me fall in love with forging. Um, I lost track of what the other thing I was going to say.
Um,
Dang it. Yeah.
It's still early.
Yeah.
Um, One thing about talk about biz projects, Shelley, I know you made a comment on it when I took that cable and I put it inside of a canister and put 1095 around it and it kind of looked like a flower.
yeah.
I need to start over on that again because I didn't know you're supposed to cut that when you go to lay it down. You're supposed to cut it into tile and lay it down. Thanks to
Mm.
Deke Parker. He's like, yeah, you're supposed to do it this way. Like, oh, I should have known that before I cut it all up. So I got to start that over. And I know you commented on this. I am following this, so I apologize. I haven't gotten much further on that. It's just one of those things I set off the sides. I got to think on that for a while. So,
Yeah.
That happens.
but anyway, I know you guys are on time squint. Let's dump into where you guys going, what's coming up for you, and all the other good fun stuff.
Well, I just started posting on social media with Jeff Davidson. The end of April, we're going to do some knife classes at his shop.
Nice.
Yeah, the 18th and 19th, I believe.
Mhm.
We're opening the books up for that now. His shop is already set up for more than two students. Basically, the shop in Texas I have right now is two people is about as much as I feel comfortable handling
Mhm.
in that shop. But Jeff's is set up for a few more people, so we're posting about that and starting to fill up slots for classes and that. Doing a knife from start to finish, forged little full tang hunter setup. And Shelley has informed me that I'm going to be very busy this year because she's already booked most of 2026's events.
Nice.
A lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
In March we have Texas Blade Show. We'll be there with Texas Farrier Supply. That's the 20th and the 21st, a Friday, Saturday, and that's at the Fort Worth Convention Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
do
think.
believe
I
so.
believe so.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We'll be there with Evan and Kim
Mm-hmm.
and that whole crew because we love Texas Farrier Supply.
Absolutely. If you need anything, that's the place to go.
It was actually Evan that kind of helped Jay with his anvil idea and
Mhm.
got that off the ground. And if you want a Jay Neilson anvil, that's where you
That's
go to get it.
cool.
Yeah. Check out the website. We got
Yep.
a new website. It's actually much better on a phone too. It actually works, not like
Mhm.
the old website did. And
neat.
we're actually this weekend we're working on putting all the events. Well, not all the events. We're like the first batch of events up on the page on the website, and we've got the emailing list. I don't take orders very often anymore, basically, and this is the part I like. I basically just make what I want to make, what I feel like making anymore. I think that was the actual point I was trying to make earlier.
Mhm.
I stopped taking the orders. I just make what I want to make anymore. And I have an emailing list where I put everything up there for 48 hours before it goes anywhere else. And I don't think I've had anything that I've posted on social media in years. It usually sells on the emailing
Yeah.
list, and we're
Nice.
putting a
I
couple more
like that
things up.
idea.
Putting a couple more things up this week. So anybody wants to check that out, there'll be some new pieces up.
One other one is Patriots Hall in Dripping Springs.
Yep.
They have a forging class for veterans. You can sign up. We did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
This year it's March 28th and 29th, and it is in Dripping Springs, which is down in the hill country. It's beautiful.
It was a really good crowd last year.
Yeah, and
last year was a really good crowd.
Yeah. Mike Turner with Texas Steel. He's
Mhm.
our contact person for that. And you can
Great
find
folks.
any of this stuff on social media. You just do a search and it pops up for more details. I think there are limited slots available for veterans, but anybody can come out and watch and check it out. That kind of thing. We had a couple of people show up that were just there.
Oh yeah, just checking it out, and it was cool because I ended up judging the pieces that were worked on.
Yeah, that was neat.
And it was interesting. It was kind of fun because some of the knives weren't finished. And people, I mean, I gave a very, very detailed explanation of how I came to my decision.
Mm-hmm.
And with a hall full of people, when I was done, everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, holy cow, everybody got it. Wow,
Yeah.
I explained it right. But I mean, like how do you judge a finished knife as opposed to an unfinished knife? It's different things you look for, and I explained it, and it's one of the things I learned
on the TV show.
Yeah,
because not everybody finishes their stuff.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot about that stuff from TV, and like you were saying about being a public speaker and all that stuff, I was never any good at that until I got thrown into the TV show. Now it's to start talking.
That's the most recent stuff. There's some other things coming up for this summer.
Yeah. Check out the website.
Yeah.
You want to plug
Michigan,
the website real quick.
Wisconsin,
North Carolina.
We're
going all over.
Yeah, we'll be around. I really want to try to get out to the West Coast. We haven't been the West Coast way, so
Well, make sure you make a trip to Utah here. You guys are welcome here. I'd love to take you guys out and introduce you to my dad and everything. So Dad's 76 is still doing stuff that he thinks he's 30 years old still can do, but a little bit slower. But I got him. I actually got him making cable Damascus now because, Dad's getting older. The shoulder's not working as much. I'm trying to convince him to get him a press. He's like, I don't know about that. I've got him to work. Yeah. I finally, a few years ago, talked him into using a propane forge to forge out his blades instead of using the coke forge. Coke it's about $800 to get out here now. Our source here in Utah dried up thanks to COVID.
Oh man!
Oh, I bet, yeah.
But Dad's kind of stuck in his ways, and he's still making steel coke. He'll take 4 bars of cable, forge weld them together, clean them up. Then he takes 4 of those together, forge welds them together, and then twists them together. So,
wow.
I'll have to send you a picture of it.
People doing some hard work.
Oh yeah, and Dad just turned 76, still doing the stuff he has. Like, just get a press. I mean, you're gonna love it. I love my 12-pound press. I would have, especially if we're doing hot cuts. No more getting burnt or burning my hand because the handle got shorter. And
I'm starting to. I see 60 on the horizon. So yeah, little extra help with the tools is going to keep me going longer.
Yeah.
Right. And I switched.
Shelley told me I got to keep doing this till I'm like 90 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
you gotta be around till you're 90.
Jay ain't going anywhere. He'll be the Bladinator forever. I just started running. I picked up in April a Texas Forge ribbon burner. That's been a learning experience. Learning using a propane forge to forge weld versus coke, because coke is a lot more higher energy. But it's fun. It's I've been trying to find new stuff to learn. Even though I hate it, I get through it. I'm thinking getting through it, and I'm asking questions. But anyway, let me know if you get to Utah. I've got an extra guest room, guys. You're welcome to use it if you want. So,
sounds good, man.
We'd love to have you guys out here and maybe have you come look at my stuff in my shop and do this better. Do this better. I would love that.
We'll play around.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to throw in that we probably didn't cover or anything? I think
I think we got most everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Check us out when we're out
The
and about.
website,
Check
yeah.
out the website, check out the
What is
emailing
the
list, see
website?
what we're making. NeilsonKnives.com. Nice and simple.
And then Jay Neilson on Facebook, pretty much, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it just type in my name. It's pretty easy to find. I'm on all the social media stuff. Um, Out in the shop constantly. Still love it. Still enjoying making knives. I'll keep making them as long as I'm still having fun doing them, and I'm still having fun. So
There you go.
Same here. I'm back full time. I took two different jobs last fall because things slowed up for me, but I'm doing okay. I'm probably gonna have to pick a part time one up here, another job here in a little bit, but thankfully, Lord willing, I'm still doing what I want to do and not have to. I don't work well. You seen that me? I don't work well with others because I don't know. Maybe I picked up too much like my dad or something like that. It's just keep my inner circles up and went and worked for a couple other people for manufacturing. And I tell you what, if I ever get to the point where my goal is to build me a small production off what I do. I've been watching the
Mhm.
videos from Josh Smith of Montana Knives. I'm like, that is so cool. Kind of want to
Yeah.
go in that direction, but not where he's at, but doing
Mhm.
what I do with a couple more guys in my shop. That would be awesome. That's one of my goals. But hey,
That would be nice.
Shelley, anything you want to throw in extra on your stuff, your show, so I mean,
I mean, Gypsy Soul Knives not much lately to change that, and I mainly am his contact person if you need information about an appearance or podcasts, anything like that. I'm the person that you
Shelley answers the phone. I don't.
yeah.
Emily, I don't know if you guys caught Emily. I'll send you a link to Emily's podcast I did with her, Emily Castle
Mhm.
Okay.
Craft. And she's like, well, you just need to get a hold of Shelley. She's like, well, and I just kept messaging Jay, and I was like, oh, I should have just got on there, found yours, and got on there and messaged, hey,
Yeah,
Emily.
Gypsy Soul
So
Knives at gmail.com or Gypsy Soul Knives on the social media. You message me, I'll answer.
Yeah,
awesome.
even on the emailing newsletters and stuff I send out, I always put, if you want us to appear somewhere, reach out to Shelley.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to get on that emailing list.
There you
That's
go.
There you go.
Some cool
um,
stuff coming up. Little Damascus copper mixes, some W1, a lot of nice burls. We got some nice pieces coming up.
that kumai. I'll send you some pictures of the kumai I did. This is my third one. It turned out better. That is an interesting experience. Thanks to Pat and I'm forgetting his name. B does the big stuff.
Mm,
I know you met him. He's been down to Texas Select. I can't think of his name.
I'm sure I know if I saw him, I don't.
I'm sorry, bud, if you're watching this or listening to this, I forgot your name. But
You'll
thanks
throw
to
him in the
those
text
guys.
later.
They gave me
All right.
good information about doing the Kumai. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Thanks again for doing this. Any pointers for the show? How I've done, just out of curiosity?
No, it's good. I like it. It's relaxed,
Yeah,
conversational.
Thank God.
yeah.
Yep.
I hate bullet points.
No
Well,
scripts.
I do a little question sometimes to do. Sometimes I use them because ChatGPT is my friend when it comes to articulating thoughts into words. Um,
I haven't
it's
tried
kind
that
of
yet.
and it's kind of weird because ChatGPT is now calling me Mike. Hey, Mike, I can do this for him. Like Sarah Connor was right. Anyway,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. That's the
thanks
way I
for
feel.
thanks for joining the show. I'm going to wrap this up real quick. Just hang on right after I hit the stop button.
Okay.
But anyway, as we say in the shop, stay sharp, America. And remember, there's only one King, and that's Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Check out Jay Neilson stuff where he's going to be. He's definitely not the Bladinator you see on Forge and Fire. He's a lot more loved teddy bear than any of you really realize. So,
Oh, teddy bear.
A delicate flower.
or I should
Delicate
I
say,
tell her.
flower.
I used to tell everybody on the show. I'd get contestants lined up, and they'd whine or cry about something. I say, "Hey, I'm a delicate flower, and don't you forget it."
awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, before I forget, real quick, words to wisdom. Almost forgot my last part.
Any words of wisdom?
Or advice.
Don't marry a stripper.
I love it. All right, that
All
works.
right.
All right.
Okay.
And